And what I'm going to do for the moment, I do have rendezvous later to the doctor with my issue there. And I'm like, I'm really wondering. What's going on with my pain there. Really wondering if it's gonna, you know, be any different in the diagnostic, because the pain was in my biceps too. So, like, really, or as I showed last time where the pain was, with the diagram there of the bicep anatomy. Anyway, so my season of Diablo sucked. Okay. I thought I was good at that game. I suck at that game. I love the game though, but I suck at it. Okay? I just suck at it. I'm not good. And I don't get it why the minions are so... I should have soloed. I really should have at least tried and see if, what was the damage of those goddamn dolls. I wouldn't have come close, but I don't know the damage of those goddamn dolls. And it's too sad because I can't play today anyway. I've uninstalled Diablo, and I wanted to program. I have to get back to programming, but I would have replayed it if I wouldn't have uninstalled, and if it would have been me, earlier me, I would have played again. Okay, I would have played again. So what we did yesterday, the only thing that we did yesterday is took that ugly GIMP, we modified it through GIMP. It's ugly because there's plenty of white pixel defects everywhere. Right? It's a lot of work to have that fixed. A lot of work, because normally I would have to take, I could delete it. I could delete all of those pixels. But I have to select them separately still, so it's a little bit lame. Maybe it's preferable that I don't delete them, that I just change the color of them. So imagine just selecting every white pixel, or gray, light gray, one by one, and then at the end, finally changing the color to blue or something. But I have to do it a different color from the internal here. So we're not going to do that today, okay? Because, what we want to do is still experiment, because we still don't know if we're going to have an end result that could be more interesting than it currently is, right? Because the current result of what I'm doing is complete trash. Okay? That's what it is. It's a load of shit, because we can't see the laser collar. It's a pile of shit. Just laser collar. The fact that the laser collar is, I wanted to do something else. So what I'm gonna do, I thought of something else earlier. We're gonna go into Invasion X, Textures, Decorations, Background Deco. And which one? I'm using pink. So if we use dash black. Okay, I'm gonna use dash black. So that would be... So yeah. Okay, now because we have this, it should already change. We're just gonna quit void expense. We're gonna restart void expense. Come on. So putting the color black.
Did you learn to fly?
Putting the color black is giving us a gray color. This is what it does. If I make it transparent, it's giving me color white. If I put it the color white, it's gonna give me color gray-ish too. White, you know, yellow, white, like super light. So we can't do a black background. That doesn't work in Void Expanse. Well, it works if I put the background black. If I don't put the decoration here though anymore, what is it going to do? So we're going to reopen our scripts of Void Expanse, right? So our scripts, and we have to go in internal or libs. I don't remember anymore where I put this. Is it generate galaxy? Like add decoration here. So we're not gonna add a decoration anymore. Okay. And now the background image is so we're gonna use transparent black. So we're gonna go in data and here transparent black. Shit. Though, was it a PNG or a GPG? I think it was fine. GPG. Yeah, that issue. That issue. Yeah. Didn't remember. Didn't remember. Well, that's great. We're having a memory refresh here. It's been a while. So those are nebulas, the textures that we see there. This is internals of Void Expanse. Okay. So in the internals of Void Expanse, and because I removed the star, black star from Void Expanse, we have issues with the yeah, so we're just gonna remove this temporarily also. We're just gonna see I'm gonna retest everything, okay? Because I got that far by doing a lot of tricks here in Void Expanse with the background and, you know, the decoration, but I just wanted to show why I'm doing all these complicated things in the first place. Why am I doing this, you know? Well, it's because when you put the background black, you have nebulas that you see in the background. And the nebulas, even if somehow you go into textures in the background's nebulas and put the transparent black as the nebula, the color black as nebula, it's not gonna work, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm putting in transparent dash black. Okay, transparent dash black. This is what I'm using currently as a nebula's color, but they're showing turquoise. Okay, in the internals of Void Expanse, it's, you know, and here, as far as I know, there's no way to turn off the nebulas. There's no way in the scripts of Void Expanse. Absolutely no way to do this. So let's try transparent white. Didn't try that already. And let's let's just see the difference here, because we're gonna have a background black, okay, but we're gonna have nebulas that are gonna show as white. But are we able to have a complete color white for the nebulas? I don't think so. Internally from Void Expanse, they're changing the color of those goddamn nebulas. Okay? They're applying a color change to them. No. Probably yes, but one second here. It's just that the nebula is big or what? No, it's just that everything is white now. So with the color white, maybe we could do something here. We're gonna go and check on the star though. We're just gonna kill an enemy. If we can't see the laser though, we can definitely not see the laser. So already there we have a problem. Big problem here. Well, I died. We see the explosion, but at the end it's going to disappear in a weird fashion. But we don't see the laser. This is, and I'm not using my program right now on top as a layer, but we don't see the laser already. We're doomed, because the laser is going to be replaced at the same time as the color of the background. So we can't do that. It's impossible, completely impossible to do anything here with this current color change of the background. Okay, and the nebulas. If we put everything white, we're doomed. Not working. So we have to put the color transparent pink, or transparent green, or transparent, another color like that. And what I might do is change that and put it to purple or something, because there's not a lot of purple, like deep, like dark purple in the game. So if I could try and find a correct color choice, okay, that's what I need right now, right? The correct color choice, in order to have much less problems with the shield, because it's, the shield goes from white to blue and blue to white, okay, and the laser goes from white to the specific color of the laser. So we have a problem there. We're gonna have to limit the laser colors to never be of color purple. How the hell can we do that? Because as far as I remember, from the internals of Void Expanse, we can change the laser color. No, we can change. Can we change? Well, it depends on the weapons. So here we have issues. Okay, so 1 second. No, I change that. So transparent dash transparent. So that's what we're gonna put back. 1 moment. I broke my program here. So it's other, going to backgrounds, and there's no transparent pink in here. So we put back transparent, where we put the color transparent of the background. But we don't need to do that really. You could put it the color, any color that we want. But I put it transparent. And let me see if I put it different color than transparent. Normal color. What's going to transparent. Let's do transparent black. Let's keep it black. Okay, it's not transparent. It's actually black now. And if we keep that color black and put back the decoration, and decoration, we're going to put this decoration. We had the color pink, so textures, decorations, background deco. We just have the color pink. Let's open that through GIMP, my favorite software here for image manipulation. Never use Photoshop, so So we're gonna see the color here. Not color, temperature. Color balance. Okay, we can put in the blue. So, a deep purple. I go with the deep purple. Like this. If I go with a purple here, put as I'm gonna do purple. I have to modify our code though. But this purple color is closer to black. So that would leave maybe and hopefully. Okay, if it's closer to black, it would leave alone the shield and the laser. I don't think that's gonna happen. We're still gonna have issues with this. But let's try. Okay, a deep purple, and we can quit here. We have our deep purple. Let's try again. So maybe that, it's gonna be closer to black. So here we have an issue. That's not what we want. And here, background deco, we have purple. Here, we're doing. Okay, and then we forgot to change in here as the background. We're not saying that, we're saying transparent. Okay. In the initial screen, that color, I can replace it. Oh, I don't want to close this. Actually, I'm gonna have to stop closing it. It's getting annoying. I'm just not used to working with two screens anymore. It's been a while not with two screens. Just really recently, like 1 month ago, or 1 month and a half, 2 months ago, I unplugged my second screen. 1 month and a half, just 1 month actually. Let's go. So here we see, this is really too close. This is way too close to the fuel color. And if I press escape, it goes blacker, darker. That's a problem for the laser color. But no, it's not dark enough. It's way not dark enough. I can't get dark because if I put black, I have gray on the. Oh, and there's something else. Of course, there's something else. Now we're gonna stop going at the ugliest graphics, or the graphics with the less. Because I had to put that down. Okay, so we're gonna say the best quality. We're gonna put some anti-aliasing. We're gonna put like 2x, it's fine. We're gonna put 4x. I'm gonna say mini nebulas, who cares, because we have decoration. I'm gonna put the sun and the post effects and all this stuff. Okay, but now that we've done that, we have to quit so that we see if there's changes also on the main screen. Avoid expense. Okay. As far far as I know, the textures are better for the ship everywhere in the game. So we're just gonna open our also MSI Afterburner if it's not opened already. I don't see it, so Charlie, what's the temperature? 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's good. Oh. And I don't like what these, yeah, so the textures are, we see the beautiful shadows, and that's creating a lot of things, you know. I'd say a lot of more issues, maybe, but it's more beautiful. Everything is more beautiful. Yeah, it's better with seeing shadows and stuff, you know, much better here. Yeah. Oh, the ship is really high though. Over. The station is the station. It's really low. The station is too low here. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to fix this in my Blender file that I saved the other time. Yeah. Or just take this one here. That's something that we can fix. See, with the shadow, at least I was able to. We're able to see that. Otherwise, I wasn't seeing that it was way too elevated. There's a big gap between the turrets and the floor. The same thing by looking at the shadow here. So now what we're gonna do is, oops, we have a star. Oh yeah, we reactivated the star, but we're not gonna have a black screen anymore. But look at what's gonna happen when we're gonna go near the star, because we put a star back. Okay, so the modifications that I am doing to void expense, they're like, it's through the XML files and the textures. I'm not intruding in the game. I'm not dicking around with pinvoke trying to hook on functions and shit like that. I don't even know how to do that. So, but look the color, look at the color of the background, and look at the color of the ship. Also, the color of the ship is changing colors because of that star, you know, illumination there. Look at the star. Okay, so we have a problem here. So when we're activating the star, if we get too close to a star, it causes that issue of the illumination changing the color of everything. Not just that, look at the graphics that are high. Okay, we can see that there's a somewhat of an illumination here. You know, you see this part here? It's a little bit lighter, and same thing with here. It's lighter, and this part here is lighter. Color is lighter here, and this part there's 3 variation here. If I don't move the mouse, you see it on the left. There's 3 variation of pink here. So that's a big problem when activating my software. That's a big problem. Yeah, big issue. So you know, when I am trying to modify, you know, the visuals, unfortunately, it's completely incompatible with look, we're not even capturing, so that's because I changed the color and put it to purple. I could change it to pink and see the difference. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna keep pink for the moment. So I'm going to quit void expense. I'm just gonna put pink and do all those tests here to show you here that unfortunately, yeah, if you would want to use my development, you would have to change the settings also of void expense inside of the options for your graphics. You have to lower the graphics, put them to fastest. Remove the options of the maybe of the multi-sampling in all of this. That's something that I can test, but and show you that it's stuck with one. So let me show you here. So now we got the pink background, but we got the good graphics. Now we got less of an issue here, but the color changed anyway. So the color changed from what it was before when the graphics were low. So we're just gonna restart my stuff here. Don't want to capture that. We want to capture void expense. Yeah. So now that we have void expense, and you know that we cannot pick in this current version of my program where the floor is not replaced. I have to replace the floor and make it separate, a separate entity from the station, because there's a incompatibility issue here. We cannot pick the container. There's no way. We have to push it outside of the station, and boom, after that it becomes available. Okay. So, and those parts currently, they're not salvageable anymore. I think I turned it off in this because we're having a save game issue. Okay. So we're able to replace the background here. So yeah, it's still working even with higher graphics. I'm very happy about that. But now the shield. Oh, we see pink in the shield. It seems to be less and less of an issue. A little bit tiny, a little bit maybe. No, so that's something that I can try and fix later. How I'm going to do it is that I'm going to make sure that no ships has any purple on the parts. No pink, no purple. Okay, and I'm gonna try to cut this part of the screen, recognize the color pink, and change the color pink to a whiter color or something, so that when we hit something, with our shield gets shot at, that we have less of a problem. So I'm very happy that the higher graphics are actually working here. Something that I hadn't tested for a long time, the higher graphics. But we have a problem, like I said, with the station. And also the gray color, much less. We still see those black holes there on the. We have less issues, it seems. Oof, here we have way more issues. It's not super hot. So we can see the color pink a little bit everywhere, on the contour of every object. And the color of the fuel is completely broken here. It's something that I can fix because we at least see the first line. So I can say, if the first few lines of that section in code, of every fuel, gauge there, that to draw a line instead, a line instead of that dot. Okay, I'm gonna see here because the lines are becoming a dot. Yeah. So as for this here, I can have I can cut a tiny part. I think that's gonna be perfect. Cut a tiny part, and to recognize color paint, can put it to black. Okay, so that we're gonna see correctly the numbers again. Okay, I think that we can fix this, and you can see that. We can still use a radar buttons, but we don't see like the mouse when we're over there. So we have an issue for this. So it's something where we could change the cursor, even the cursor color. But you know, we have a problem with two different icons showing. Also, we have this icon there, as you see on the cursor, and we have the icon of an arrow, a blue arrow. Okay, we have two cursors here. Ah, we have issues with the explosions. Okay. But I don't know, right? What would I do? Change this. So there's a part left behind. Okay, that we normally could salvage if I could fix again my goddamn salvaging device. Yeah. And also, well, you know that we're seeing the game right now. We're not seeing it in voxels. Oh, here we are. Shit. So here we are in the menu normally, if I can recognize that. Menu I, and then the menu M. Oh, both have the, so I, oh, god damn it, I or M, same thing. Okay, same menu here that I can recognize just with this. Tiny galaxy. Okay. I just want to keep on testing and adding a few things here and there. We have an issue with the color of the red when it goes over the radar. So that's a bit irritating. And also, I think I wanted to turn off all the options in my I'm programming also from 138. It's not good. I made a backup, right? Yeah, I did make a backup. Shit. We have issues. The color. We have an issue now. Yeah. So, shit. Is this coming from my shader or is it coming from the CPU? Okay, so we're gonna take the segments that are not like this. We're gonna go and put that right about here. And that part of my code, we're gonna turn this shit off. Temporarily. We didn't have an issue with this, as far as I remember. With the low graphics. So, it's irritating. Yeah, we didn't have any issue with this, we're gonna go in the options here and put this to fastest again. Put this to off. Put this to off. Put this to off. Whatever. So we don't have the ability to place a collar. And with the collars of the ship also there. Ooh, in here we see black collar. So here it's without changing anything. You have a problem with the white and the radar too. Just noticed. This is so complicated. Working alone on this is a pile of fucking trash, man. It's the color ping that we're capturing. Why is it that we're having the issue now? I just turned the options back to off. Oh, yeah, so we're just gonna restart void expense. Because there's an internal thing in void expense that sticks around when you're changing settings like this. Okay? There's an internal setting that's not turned off. And the graphics are not at the lowest. Extremely at the lowest. It's once you restart the game with new settings, okay, that you have that you're going back to where you were before. I think. So no shadows, nothing. Okay. No shadows, nothing. I'm turning all those settings off. And back to my program. We've turned all the settings off. So there you go. So turning the setting off, you know, that you're turning at the worst possible, you know, like kind of visuals for void expanse, but you're still seeing what's going on. And it's how I've been modding void expanse. Lowest settings, fastest settings. Jesus Christ, the AI in this freaking game is defective. It's so defective. Anyway, so what do we have here? Do we have voxels here? Yeah. Okay. In voxel mode, we see the pink laser. So we're seeing everything back to how it was. We don't have an issue with the collar. We do a little bit. A little bit, yeah. We do have a visual defect. less of an issue with the numbers, but there's still not the color white. We'd love to have this, problem fixed. Yeah. Except for that, well, we didn't change anything. It's just testing. So we showed at least the audience there, that you can't really modify it like 10,000 different ways here. It was just like, unless you would have like a VIP communication with the Atomic Torch developer, and asking for things, and they would say yes. So that's about it. And I don't have that VIP connection. I don't think so. Because too many times it was refused already, so it's already tested, too many times. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we got that radar, but man, I don't like it. I don't like this big patch of blue over it, man. I don't like it. I just don't like this radar. So if I put this goddamn UI at least over it, you lose that part. You lose that part of the graphics. They were already nice graphics. And the pink background. Well, we can't use color black. It doesn't work. It gives us a gray color, regardless of the quality of the graphics. Yeah, so what do I do here? Well, what do I do? Because it sucks, man. It just plainly freaking sucks. So yeah, I got color pink for everything, man. Color pink is everywhere. What the fuck am I supposed to do here? Need to think even more here. Because I could have, now that I have the background color replaced, why is it that I'm seeing the pink through everywhere else? Because that color is not replaced. It's not the same color. We're not recognizing the same portion of it. So if I would recognize the other portion of it, what would I have? Maybe I would have I would have that fixed. Maybe the shield and the light coming from the reactors. So if I would recognize that, we might lose the entirety of the fuel gauges. So that would mean I would have to recognize the fuel gauges before, to recognize, to draw them before changing the color of everything. Otherwise we're going to lose everything here. We're not going to see anything. Oh, we've already lost the other one. No? Oh no, that's the speed. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Never really looked at this icon that much before. Okay. So are we losing the green? No, we're not losing it. We're seeing a little bit of pink through it though. Okay. So let me try and recognize that second portion. You might not even need to replace this whole radar thing. Okay. So I could recognize second portion. That would mean that everybody would have to put their graphics at the lowest, but who cares? Yeah, you're not gonna have shadows, but we're gonna try later for every option. Okay, we're gonna try it later for every option to see if of the quality, to see if there's anything that we can do. Okay, to see if there's anything that we can do in order to add more recognition of the setting. My program through the settings, it didn't have a color. Uh, a color fix. Yeah, except for that. Yeah, the blue is still feeling like today. Windows my program never was optimized. You know, dedicate the thread to do all this work on the UI thread. It's not optimized. Okay, I need to put the stuff in the queue. Okay, and my program would run much better if I would use what I learned from the tutorial, the special lag on residual landmass generation. Then using that queue to work on and to give the heat maps values to the shader and render, then we might have much better performance because my program was already on the margin of lag and no lag zone. It was already there. I didn't anything on top of it was going to make it lag for sure. So now it lags. It lags with barely any modifications to my program and additional things. So I would have to remake my program, but I would love to get a little bit, like further ahead in trying to in trying to fix this, without the shadows and the beautiful graphics of void expense. But also, yeah, there's one thing. Maybe I don't need to remove the stars anymore. We're just gonna go and check it out. Okay. It's gonna be a lot of modification. We'll just work on one type of settings, right? But if we're doing it differently than what they're doing in Diablo 2 Resurrected, using the old mode and the new mode, so yeah, it breaks. Because we're using stars, it changes the color of the ship, changes the color of the background, it breaks the thing. If we're removing the star, we have a black screen issue. The screen goes all black of void expense, and I don't know how to fix this. So that's internal thing. So maybe we should quit, okay? Because arriving to or I could send an email to Atomic Torture. Literally, send an email and explain the issue that I'm having and see their response to it before we quit. Okay? But I think that quitting before might be a good solution because the only thing that would happen is that I would come back if they are, interested in helping this time around. I would just come back, so there's nothing lost, because the response just has to be good from both parties, and everybody's happy, and can continue working. Otherwise, I'm just probably freaking gonna quit because how would I have known that it would have been possible or not? Well, I can't. I wouldn't because nobody could have built my software. Well, yes, people could have built my software. They just didn't. So I had to build it myself, and I had to test it on void expense to know if things were going to be modifiable to that extent. But here in void expense, there are internal things that you cannot modify. You cannot modify some internal things of void expense. They're blocked, and because of this, it makes even the screen modification so hard, improbable, and almost impossible that you can't modify it that way. Okay? It's unfortunate, but you saw it too, right? Where if we're removing the star at some point, we have a black screen complete black screen. If I was replacing the screen with the black color with pink or green, we would see a full screen that is green or pink or black when that happens. And that's because of the star that I'm removing from being generated from void expanse that is still being generated as a black star if I'm not generating one. And there's no other settings in the game that adds a star. So it's void expanse that adds a star automatically to the system, a black star when you're not choosing one. And if you do that, then the black star, the only illumination that it gives, I think, is black. And there's no illumination to black, so it doesn't create an issue with the illumination of the other stars when you go near a star. But the problem is what it does sometimes is it creates a bug, an internal bug, where the whole screen is black. Because of that illumination effect of, I think, the star. That black illumination effect. And it does that when you're outside of the station. It makes absolutely no sense that it does that, because it doesn't do that for the other stars. But it's an internal problem. There are so many things like this in Void Expanse. Okay? That's including also the memory of the scripts. Okay? The way that I've done the artificial intelligence kind of drone formations is to have separate scripts work on memory that their own scripts generate. So each script has a localized memory inside of each script that can be regenerated if it becomes null during a save. So during a save, the memory becomes null, or you quit the game, the memory becomes null because it was inside of that script as global variables. And when you rejoin a game and you respawn or rejoin the same game, the same save, you would see the drones still there, but that their pathfind, for instance, was not activated yet. In the moment that you would rejoin the game, poof, the drones, arrays would initialize at least once, just like the pathfind. Just like the pathfind arrays activates once the first time that a drone would be spawned near a station, if the pathfind would be activated for that solution, for that program, for that game, okay, which we do in my other program there that I released. The example of when we're using black screen replacement, color changes, color modifications. So there's no way that I can make it work. There's no way that I can make it work, because we're still gonna have the black screen, or green screen, or freaking pink screen. You know, with players playing, suddenly their screen becomes black or something, and they're like, well, what the fuck? You press escape, is it fixing anything? You know? But this is due to the modifications that I'm doing. You know, removing a star creates a problem internally in Void Expanse, where it still creates a star, but it's black. And because it's black, the illumination is black. And because the illumination is black, it's creating the problem. Black screen. Poof. You're outside of the station, the only thing that you see is black. But your ship's still there. Except for that, I think that the rest I could like modify a lot of things. You know, it would end up being modifications of everything. Literally. The radar at the top right, you know, I'd be able to modify it. I've already done it, but I would be able to put, I think, an overlay, the overlay that I worked on, and I could work on it better. The pink color, is there's variations of it, and because of the variations in the color of the shield, when the shield activates, or yeah, the lights of the turrets that activates or that turns on, or the the thruster's color that has a tune of white and yellow in there, and unfortunately, because of the background underneath, the pink goes through, and we see the pink, at that location where the ship is. But I can do it for the ship. It's easy to cut the part because the ship always stays in the middle of the screen. So it's easy to do that part. The problem would be with all the other ships surrounding, the player. They would go to the player and near the player, and the player would see that there's pink. I could do recognition on every freaking ship in the game, but do you know how long? Not how long. Do you know how? I think it would have a hard time, my program, to do that. It would work, I think, in the end. If I take a model and take a picture of the model in Blender, like a snipping of every angles of the ship, and send that, like literally 360 pictures of the ship rotated, okay, and give that to machine learning program, it will be able to recognize every ships in my screen, for sure. But I would have to make it recognize the entire goddamn screen for all of the ships in the game. That's gonna cost a lot of performance. Pretty sure that is gonna cost a lot of performance. We're not building like we're not building a satellite like recognition of what's going on in the screen of which tanks are belonging to which army on a battlefield here. What we're building is a recognition of icon of void expanse. We're not screen capturing a freaking screen of like battlefield, like I was saying, to try and recognize what's on the screen there. It's not a fucking army software where it has to be so freaking powerful to recognize like 10,000 freaking tanks on the battlefield at the same freaking time from a satellite view or something. No, we're just trying to recognize like simple things here, like one icon. Down at the bottom, the onboard computer. Okay, and the other thing that we would love to is recognize a couple of other things, like the menu. Like when we see a little tiny little X, not here, but when we're inside of the game and we open the menu, we see tiny, not the menu, well, yeah, the inventory, the map, and all those things. We see an X here. We can recognize that X. Okay? All the menu transitions where the colors are changing the background, I think I can do it. I think it can do all the transitions of the menu. But in the end, I foresee, and not just foresee, I've tested it, I've seen it, the bug will stay there. The visual bug of the black becoming, the screen becoming completely, entirely black where we see nothing. Okay? And I cannot change it. And Atomic Torch, in the past few times that I've asked for help, it never had the time. It never had the time for me anymore. Okay, they barely had time in the beginning because they were so hard working on Cryofall that they didn't have time for me at all. And to go and ask another time, going out of my way to ask a last time, I don't even want to do it. I don't even want to do it because this is much more complicated than the other things that I've asked in the past that they said no to anyway, that were interesting things, or that they didn't have the time to. This here is more complicated. The internal star issue. You have to. I don't even freaking know where the star is. Why it's spawned internally. Why is it spawned internally? I could ask on the forums though. Maybe I'm gonna ask on the forums before quitting entirely. If I have positive response, then I might continue working on it. But otherwise, that I would be building something for something that's not going to work in the end. And I could only know now The other times I saw that issue, I wasn't sure where the fuck it was coming from. I linked it to the star, but I never thought that I'd be back here working on my heat maps virtual desktop and re-seeing that bug and knowing that I can't remove that bug. And the save game issues that I have been having also a lot during development of my mod, like tons of times a load save game issue that made no freaking sense, where something is not appreciated in the way that I was coding things. Void expense wouldn't accept it. There was no warning of any kind except the load save game bug that crashes the whole server. Okay, happened to me too much during development that I didn't know where the problem was coming from. I tried to fix things in many different ways, trying to pinpoint things at different, problems maybe in my code. Like for instance, colliders of the stations that were on top of one another. So I made sure to not do that when I was building colliders for the station. To have colliders, multiple polygon colliders, and other types of colliders that are not on top of one another. It took me such a long time to make that manually, because all of the stations that you see there in their colliders, I've manually built them with their 2D app, physics adjuster, .exe, their app, and I've tried to fix this, and I thought that the problem, the load save game issue, was happening from there. I don't even know if that's what fixed the issue, because in the end it seemed that it wasn't happening that much anymore. But it seemed that it was still happening. So I rebuilt all the time, plenty of times, my mod to try and avert that goddamn fucking save game bug, until finally I rebuilt my salvageable device to salvage freaking destroyed ship parts, where that fucking load save game happens at the first save now. The first save of a server, you have a bug. Load save game bug. And I'm not doing anything spectacular in code. I'm just freaking making sure that all of the parts that are to be salvaged, destroyed ship parts, once they're created, which means when the ship is destroyed, it creates multiple parts. All the values are put in global variables in the game, and it's not a lot of variables. There's not like 10,000 ships being destroyed at the same time. Maybe there's like 10 ships. That's not a lot of variables. 10 ships. Although, in every destructible parts, okay, I have to create a variable that says there is a destroyed parts here, but what is inside? There's many objects inside. How much time does it take? Not how much time. What is the maximum of each part? And how much items does the salvageable device retrieves every time that I activate it? Okay, that's the only thing that I'm doing. And it does the load save game issue. So this to me, okay, this game and how long I've been coding it and working on it and trying to fix things, and it feels to me like it's comparable to Diablo 2 Resurrected in terms that I can't win. Okay? I'm working so fucking hard trying to fucking succeed, but much harder than Diablo 2 Resurrected here. 1000% more. This is the game that I've not played a lot, Void Expanse, but look at the numbers of hours that I have on it. This is me modding it. Starting Void Expanse, quitting because it doesn't work. Reopening Void Expanse, re-quitting because it doesn't work. Okay? And no fucking help from the developer that much. Okay? So it feels just like playing Diablo 2 that lags every season in a ladder HC fucking game start. Every time. Every fucking time. In the slums, this is what happens. So, if I would mod or try to mod another game, okay, with my hate maps virtual desktop, because I might not be done modding for Expanse, but I might be done trying to use my software on it. If you know what I mean. my hate maps virtual desktop because it's not the only program that I have in my portfolio. And Void Expense is not only the only moddable game on the market either, right? So I might write another message on the forums, yeah, and say that I am done trying to mod Void Expense with my virtual hate maps, virtual desktop hate maps, voxel hate maps software. I'm done trying. Okay, Void Expense is a game that you have to mod with what's provided to you from the producer, the game video studio, whatever, Atomic Torch. Okay, from the JavaScript file, the XML files, the models and stuff like that. But if trying to mod it in the worst case scenario, what I am doing with an engine that's not even intruding. It's not intruding. There's no pinvoke bullshit in here. The only pinvoke that there is for the mouse to know where you would click if you would use those functions inside of. I think I might use them actually in the keyboard key clicks for my engine to communicate with Void Expense through the devices. And then when you click them during gameplay, it's not even pinvoke trying to intrude in hooking to functions. I don't do the hooking part. I don't do that thing. I don't know how to do it. That's the first thing. So, the guy that is modding in virtual reality, that he modded Cyberpunk 2077 with a virtual reality mod, it's a huge what the fuck. It feels like his mod is like a pinvoke thing. Ish, where he's hooking into things. He's hooking and passing, different things, for the visuals. I don't know how he would do that. He's very strong programmer, very powerful. But I don't know how to do that for Void Expense. If I would know how to do that, then I would probably I might be able to remove the star from being generated, for instance. I don't know, but I don't know how to do that. So it leaves like I know that my mod will have that my engine will continue to have issues if I would continue to try and mod Void Expense that way. Okay, that way. So it's frustrating. It's another defeat. It'd be another defeat, but man, I'm just pushing myself trying to mod something that's already would require internal modifications. And it's not like I have that much of a good relationship with the Atomic Torch Studios. Quite the opposite. We don't know each other. We don't know each other at all. I had just started modding the game a lot of years ago. I thought, that I was doing a good job, but the problem is that I was not communicating a lot. Okay, I was only working my ass off on my part of the world. Okay, I was working my ass off trying to mod Void Expense and build things for it, but I was not communicating that I was doing so. I was just arriving tiny updates left and right of what I was trying, of what I was doing, and I didn't communicate often on the forums for what I was doing or sharing often my projects until I had shared like everything that I was working on. So already that is a good thing that I did for Void Expense. Sharing my projects, sharing how I have done them, sharing, also my scripts. I could have made my scripts more complicated, much more complicated than what I did. But all my scripts are there. Somebody can just take my work and restart their own thing if they wanted to. But like I said, I'm not quitting modding Void Expense, but I think I'm quitting trying to make my hate maps virtual desktop compatible with Void Expense. Okay? I think. Because it will require me to, it would require me to I don't know. I was just thinking at the same time. I had another idea, and I was thinking I should do it like today. Go on the forums and quit quit trying to make my hate maps virtual desktop work with void expense. The things were cool, and I should explain though. I should explain what's happening. Okay, I'm gonna explain, do a big explanation, you know, and the black screen. I'm gonna explain all of that too. Yeah, it's really sad though, but it was like, it still might be possible for Cryofall, you know, to do something here, a cool thing for Cryofall, their newest game. But to do it for Void Expanse, and you know, the fact that it wouldn't be working for Void Expanse, and I would still have to keep on modding Void Expanse separately to advance my mod, well, it's a little bit slash a lot frustrating. But I keep on modding in the end. My Void Expanse. I don't know. Nobody plays it anyways. Nobody's trying my mod. Nobody's ever given a single comment on my mod. It was playable back then. It was playable with the stations like this, but it's like it's always been too incomplete. So much work already, like so much work, but still too incomplete to be, you know, like, I don't know. It could be something that I could do though. Get out of barebone C# for a while and hate maps virtual desktop and just restart modding Void Expanse. Too many issues with that fucking goddamn Black Store. I've been hooked on too long on Void Expanse. It was already not popular in the beginning. 2 years after launch, it was dead. It was dead. So, I don't know. I don't even know why some people play Cryofall, even. I think it's, you know, like, it's lacking, like, I don't know why they don't have that much popularity like the other games. Basically, I don't understand what's the problem with Cryofall. Yeah, it's a beautiful game. It's really beautiful. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of games opened, you know? So would I go and try to mod Cryofall instead? Build those fucking zombies and skeleton? Well, it is what I wanted to do, but fuck. I was tired a long time ago already to not have help for my mod, and the tiny little functions, okay, that I was asking to see if it was possible, and that they were literally given, that was really helpful. So, what I could do, though, yeah, is give a final explanation, at least for my hate maps virtual desktop, and say that I'm gonna stop trying to mod Void Expanse with it. It's never going to work. It would require internal modifications, or people would have to play with that black screen bug in the end, because in the end that's what's gonna happen. The bug of the black screen would still be there. And it's never going to be perfect, because, you know, I'm emulating, or trying to merge my engine with Void Expanse from external functions that are not even intruding. You know, it's so hard to do in the first place. It's like so freaking hard. And I don't think that they did it that way with Diablo 2 Resurrected, personally. I think it's just rendering. They added a few more things to it, but it's mostly rendering. It opens up, like, because the player is moving at the same location, so you know right from there that they're passing on those variables to, you know, both engine, you would say, you know. But it's, you can call it a merge of two engines, literally. Their network connection still sucks, even if it's called BattleNet 2.0. Still a pile of fucking dirt. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm gonna get rid of that hook on me to keep on modding wood expense like today. I'm tired of it. Tired of it. Too many things that I'm irritated with when I'm coding wood expense, and it's the internal limitations of this JavaScript, like whatever that they're doing, with that. It's pretty cool what they built. Pretty cool. The game is like impossible to hack. It's so hard to hack. So it's very cool. But you know, like those save games era that have been happening too much and too often without telling me where the problem was. That that already is and the problem might not be there in the future, but for me, it was happening. Okay? For me, it was happening. For others, it might not be happening. So you might relate to what a backdoor is later, in a conversation. If that problem is never happening to you and only to me later on, you know, the operant conditioning that whatever you do is never good enough. It's always trash in the end. It's always going to break. It's always breaking. Whatever tiny modifications, because you need to go another way, a different way, because people are just in the in the rear end of those back doors, and they're linearly leading you to where they want you to go. You know, that's sometimes how it feels. When you're programming, it feels like this. When you're gaming, it feels like this. On those online games, okay, that's how it feels like. So sometimes. So what do I do? I'm gonna quit streaming for 2 seconds. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. I'm gonna keep thinking about, do I quit or not quit? Entirely void expense modding. Entirely. Or just, the mods of my heat maps virtual desktop on it that I wanted to do that's just never going to work. Not with void expense. Okay, unless there would be internal modifications to the engine. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna